More global warming.
And more This Is True Really News. Huzzah! Please like, subscribe, and follow This Is True Really News. Please leave comments wherever you engage with us, or engage with us with comments wherever you run into us. But don't knock us over. And if you have a story you'd like us to check out, please send it to TITR@netradio.network. I landed the plane.
Did you?
Sort of.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
Oh, my sister-in-law is way too much. See, she grew up in Minnesota, right?
Okay.
Then she went out to California for school.
I recall that.
And then they moved to Michigan, somewhere else, Alabama, Colorado now.
Yeah.
But she seems to find strange stories.
Good for her.
When a northern Minnesota trapper recently checked one of his traps set in hopes of catching a bobcat, yeah, you need a license, he discovered an illegal catch. Uh-oh. Now, get on your Google machine, because he caught an out-of-season pine marten, A-R-T-E-N, marten. It was in the trap and appeared to be quite dead. So, as required by the law, the trapper called the DNR, and the conservation officer got the story of the illegal catch. According to said officer, Nicholas Procker, he called me almost in tears, saying he had a pine marten in his bobcat set and that he didn't want the animal to die. And I was on the phone with him. He said, wait, hold on. I think his eye just moved. And the next thing I knew, he hung up on me. The man called the officer back a few minutes later to say he had revived the animal. He described to me in great detail how he actually put his lips on the nose of the pine marten and blew air into it. All together now. Ugh. You don't know where that nose has been.
Okay.
Nicholas. Yeah.
Oh, you're not done with the story.
No, but go ahead.
I found a picture of a pine marten.
It is, and it looks like I'm guessing like a small bobcat.
No, it looks more like a fox. I don't know how big it is. It's sitting next to well, that's fairly big. It's bigger than a fox by a considerable amount.
But smaller than a bobcat. Hang on. I don't want to ruin the story. Pracker.
Is this the guy from Minnesota?
Yep.
Okay.
He drove to the scene in northern Beltrami County, helped release the revived and rather angry pine marten by that point. I believe
it kissed me. Can you believe that?
On the nose. Let me near him. I think I can eat him. He also viewed a video taken by the trapper's wife that actually confirmed the entire sequence of events.
Now, those pictures will never be off the internet.
The response was so unusual, the conservation officer included it in his weekly report. He believes the pine marten survived the body grip trap, which is designed to kill quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he survived it because it's he's much smaller than the bobcat the trap is actually designed for.
Yep.
Out-of-season catches of pine martens are relatively rare, he says. Maybe one a year, maybe. But he's never, ever, ever had one that involved CPR and a revived animal.
It was miffed. It kept doing this.
Do you have a hanky?
God almighty, do you have something I can set on fire and stick my nose in?
Could you just set my nose on fire? That would help.
Stuart O'Neill.
Yes, animals can talk in Minnesota. That's off.
Right. C.S. Lewis proved it. Stuart O'Neill, who lives in a care home, had been given a 15-mile-an-hour electric vehicle so he could visit his son, who lives a mile away. He doesn't get around much. He's had a brain injury.
Yeah.
So he doesn't move particularly well. But after paying a visit to his local nail bar for a pedicure, the 65-year-old O'Neill was so delighted at the results, he began knocking back vodka to toast his newfound freedom to roam.
Which, as we know, is what we would all probably do.
But I wouldn't use vodka, though.
That's kind of a standard. Well, you go with what you got, man.
Well, yeah, but,
Besides, it looks like water. It
tastes like.
Well, it looks like water.
On his way home, he was seen traveling at speed on his Sunrise Medical Mobility scooter
So we're at 15 miles an hour, right?
Before zigzagging, clipping a tree, and nearly toppling over. He then swerved onto the road out of control and plowed into the back of a car as the driver looked on in horror through her rearview mirror. She actually saw him coming. Yeah, right. Police called to the scene in Southport Town Center in Merseyside discovered he was more than twice the alcohol limit. No one was injured in the smash. Even the smashed guy wasn't smashed. At Sefton Magistrates,
smashed.
Yeah, right. At Sefton Magistrates Court, O'Neill, who has a brain injury caused by a fall, admitted driving while unfit through drink and was banned from driving for 12 months. He's currently being taken. Yes, sir?
Where did he get the vodka?
Yeah, talk to them.
I'm just real curious.
Probably at a liquor store.
Guy comes in with a scooter.
We're gonna. He's currently being taken on errands by care home staff and the mobility scooters off the road pending repairs. O'Neill had originally been charged with drink driving, but the charge had to be amended.
Because?
Due to the fact motorized scooters are exempt.
Damn it.
So they probably had to come up with something like drunk in public.
Yeah.
They're scaring a lady.
Moving drunkly through public on a road.
Drunkling over the poop brain.
Exactly. Okay, back to nature, because Michelle is, if nothing else, fond of nature. This one, she writes
Nature calls, as it were.
You read this story, you'll see why I sometimes miss Alabama. 42-year-old George Owens is in serious trouble after apparently stripping naked and jumping into a Bass Pro Shop pond. And the good news is there's footage. Yes, there's video from horrified bystanders.
We see his feet?
Oh, we see. See, cops say Owens executes the cannonball from the top floor of the store in Leeds, Alabama, because you want to go to the right store just before closing time. The video show Owens yelling something at officers as he's hanging on the edge of the pool he's just cannonballed into. And yes, you can. There's nothing you don't need imagination for this at all. No.
Can you smell the booze on it?
Even TMZ
Yeah.
blocked things out.
Oh, my.
So he's yelling something at the officers, hanging on the edge of this glass pool before dramatically hurling himself over the side, which went well because you land then on a wet cement floor. Smacked his head and his ass in the process. And it's really hard sometimes, I'm guessing, to tell which is which. I'm guessing his head was so far,
Did he crack his head?
Cops eventually get Owens into the cuffs, but he still puts up a fight for a while. Eventually, he calms down some, but not before. I'm jumping the gun. Another man comes through and covers with a blanket so that otherwise you have to burn your eyes out. And police slide him away on his belly. As for what led to this erratic fish tank display?
What led to this erratic fish tank display?
Glad you asked. Police Chief Paul Irwin told TMZ Owens was driving in a car with two family members shortly before 9 o'clock when he hit a pole in the store's parking lot. From there, he decided to get out strip naked and walk inside the wilderness-themed store. Chief Irwin added that once he was under arrest, Owens did, by the way, try to kick one officer in the groin and did later kick in and damage the back door of their vehicle.
Oh.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say either he suffered a really weird concussion when he smacked into the pole, or there may be impaired driving here. Yeah, I think that's probably what bingo would win right there. He's charged with a plethora of offenses that include, but aren't limited to, criminal mischief and assaulting a police officer. He also, by the way, found time to make really vulgar comments to the officers within earshot of the public.
Pish posh for all of that.
Yeah.
What score did he get for the cannonball?
They gave him 8s.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know, because they gave him 8s because they thought he might be a little off his head. And we won't know that yet because he's taken to the hospital for a psych eval.
Speaking of perpetrators.
You think?
Point Breeze, Pennsylvania.
I like the name of that place.
Yep. Perpetrator, Cecil. A 7-year-old golden doodle.
Sure it's not Cecil?
Cecil, a 7-year-old golden doodle.
What's a golden doodle?
Cecil. It's a...
Not in London. In London, it was Bernard and Cecil.
Was it?
No.
Tink. A golden doodle is a golden retriever mixed with a cockatoo. No, golden retriever mixed with a poodle.
And you got a golden
doodle. They're beautiful dogs, and they're fun. We've got one in the neighborhood, and his name is Bear, and he's the sweetest thing ever. But he's giant. He's 100 pounds.
Okay.
Clayton Law had gone to the bank and withdrawn money. Put the money in. What?
Generally do at a bank.
Yep. Put the money in an envelope, plopped it on the countertop, and walked out of the room. When he got home, right? The $4,000 was intended for a new fence.
Because his old fence was busted by the police. It was wrong fence.
Can you see the light at the end of that tunnel coming at you? Workers asked to be paid in cash, so they got the money in cash.
Yeah.
And that's when Cecil stepped in.
Cecil.
He ate roughly $2,000 in cash, then chewed and tore up the rest.
Well, because he was full.
In the understatement of the day, it was kind of a WTF moment, according to Clayton.
You think?
So first, the couple, these people are smart, Clayton and his wife. The couple checked with Cecil's vet, and he was okay given his size. Okay? Now it was time to retrieve what they could.
Ain't doing it.
Naturally, Cecil, good Lord, started throwing up cash. It also came out the other end.
And of course it did.
It was like balled up pieces.
It's like an ATM with fur.
That we had to kind of remove from his number 2, Carrie Law said. The Laws found out their bank would take back any bills that had been taped together with the full serial numbers visible on both ends.
Yeah, they could get replacements then.
Yeah, that is after Clayton had washed the bills clean.
So he's a money launderer.
So far, Carrie said, we got back around $35.50.
That ain't bad, man.
The Laws are still trying to get back the rest of the money through the Department of Treasury because they're not complete serial numbers and stuff like that.
Good luck with that.
They're going to keep at least one bill, and
I would frame it. I'd put it out front.
Right.
Come to this house. My dog will do this to you.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.